Fast forward Unicom our channel so how say GH Politics Avenue. Podcast or friend because big headlines ne jembre na edibi aksumo. Enidium yembo ingre political highways num eja dem a enya sam koto akra na Ato Forson ena wotimi ameki a year revelation be expose bi afa a year finance ministry ho check secretary share project a onua akoso a obeto ye no enya asem koto akra na sansem we say ena black rasta enso asombia odi bi exum ye mr say mon ran sibinim na ehwe ne ko ene de eba aha say age politics avenue.
Shocked Ato Forson reveals massive stealing at finance ministry. Who is Ato Forson? You know him? Have you seen him before? He's one of the youngest ministers in the office of the Ministry of Finance. At the helm, he's the Minister of Finance. He's a cool guy. He's a nice guy. He almost went to jail in the days of the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo Bawumia regime. There were some ambulances that were procured for the nation. And it was said that there were issues around those ambulances, genuine issues, and he was fingered as a minister at the time. The matter lingered in court. At the end of the day, it looked like desperation came in. Some utterances were made, recordings were made available to the courts, and this case was struck out by the Attorney General, now the Stanford lawyer, the Zwarungu boy, Dr. Dominic Akuritinga Ayine. Many people criticized it. The NPP said they will revive the case should they come back into power. My brother, my sister, his track record so far, after a year, he's done so well with his office. The economy is doing very well. And many people are giving him thumbs up alongside Gold Board and some other such outfits. My brother, my sister, this is Ato Forson. Is it okay to run a dossier? This is the man we're talking about. Dr. Kesiel Ato Forson was born on the 5th of August in 1978. He's a prominent Ghanaian economist, chartered accountant, and a politician. As of early 2026, he served as Ghana's Minister for Finance under the administration of President John Dramani Mahama. And that's what we just talked about. He comes from Adwuma Akumbesiase in the central region. There was a great boy who came out of Adwuma Aku called Otuba Kugwano. Kwabena Otuba Kugwano. And I cannot wait for that little boy who was taken into slavery to be honored in Adwuma Aku. Not many people know this history, but we've told it over and over. He has a PhD in business and management, finance, from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology from the year 2020. My brother, my sister. He has a Master of Science in Taxation from the University of Oxford in the United Kingdom. He holds another Master's of Science in Economics. Yes, Master of Science in Economics from my university, and proudly so, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He started it all with a Bachelor of Science degree in accounting from the London South Bank University. This is Dr. Kesiel Ato Forson. He has over 20 years of experience in the public and private sectors as a fiscal, economics, and tax practitioner. This is the guy we're talking about. He's a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Ghana, ICAG, and he's a tax expert. A fellow of the Chartered Institute of Taxation, Ghana, and the former managing director of Forson Contracts Limited, UK, and CEO of Omega Africa Holding Limited. And he's a member of the NDC. He's been a key figure in Ghana's parliament. He's a minister of state and also an MP for Jumaku in that area. He's a member of parliament for Jumaku Enyan Esian constituency. Minister of Finance. He was sworn in January 2025. And from that time, he's been fireworks. He led the NDC minority in the 8th parliament before his ministerial appointment. And then, from 2013 all the way to 2017, he was Deputy Minister of Finance and served under the previous Mahama administration, where he was central to the 2015 Ghana IMF Extended Credit Facility negotiations. And he's achieved a lot. He's focused on Ghana's turnaround of the economy following the 2022-2023 crisis. Many people have fingered him at the right spot for Ghana's economic turnaround. This is the little boy, Ato Forson. If you look at the achievements, he's only but a boy with extraordinary talent and efficacies. Like David, with a sling and a stone, he felled a whole giant to the ground. He oversaw a decline in inflation from 23.8% in 2024 to 3.2% as of March 2026. Unprecedented. It's never happened in the history of Ghana. Hey! Even when those guys brought in their economics guru and he became the chairman of the economic committee, with all the men that he paraded as we got the men, they couldn't scratch, let alone penetrate the economic crisis. Ato moved it for close to 24% to 3.2%. Hey, this should go into the Guinness Book of Records. This, my brother, my sister, hey, should go down in the annals of history. Reported a 40% appreciation of the Ghana cedi against the US dollar during the 2025 year. 40% appreciation. What a bidder? What a bidder? 40%. Hi. And with the debt management, look at how he handled it. He reduced the public debt from 61.8% to 45.3% of GDP by the end of 2025, reaching sustainability targets ahead of schedule. In one of the first times, we are seeing something done ahead of schedule. What is his global engagement? He recently represented Ghana at the 2026 IMF World Bank Spring Meetings, emphasizing a shift from economic stabilization to growth through agribusiness and infrastructure. This is the waistcoat we are talking about. And he's so humble with his achievements. Recently, he single-handedly went all the way into customs and exposed some rot that saw the head removed. Brigadier Annan. Removed. Massive rot, according to what was published. Many people said he would be a flash in a pan. Many people said his initial achievements were nothing but a storm in a teacup. Some said, oh, these achievements were nothing. And that the NDC was building mountains out of molehills. Now the reality is slapping their cringing brows. And they are all standing there, wetting their pants as if they had weak bladders. They've all become red like Sasabonsam. The Wizkid is the true economist, not the fake one that they brought in and made the chairman of the economic whatever. That guy who went around telling nothing but lies. They are still shell-shocked how these guys have been able to turn around the economy. As fuel prices are increasing around the world, America is having fuel price increases. Hey, even oil-producing countries like Venezuela are all tasting fuel price increments. Ghana is reducing fuel prices. Are you aware? Are you aware? My brother, I am so proud to be a Ghanaian. Every Ghanaian at this point is so proud. Ghanaians in America are praising Ghana. People who are not Ghanaians are struggling to get Ghanaian passports. Today, when you go to any airport in the world and then you flash out a Ghanaian passport, they look at you twice. The first one is to say, how did you do it? And the second one is say, please come back here again. The time is coming. Ghanaians will behave like South Africans in the positive aspect of making sure everything in their country is self-sufficient. They won't be flying around, running through deserts, and be swallowed by wickedness. They will stay. And the time is now. This is Ato Forson. Ato Forson was sworn in January 2025. And they made him the finance minister. But when he got into the office, people started approaching him. People who had been in that office before him, they went to him and said, you know what? I'm going to show you a secret that you will thank me for every time. And you know what they told him? This is how to steal without being caught. There are loopholes here in this ministry. If you pass here, you can make millions and nobody would see. Your predecessors that we were part of, that was how we milked the country, stole from the country, and we are now good with our biggest boss, a fugitive, running around trying to get Trump's stamp on his passport for residency in America. Ato sat back and was shocked. He thought they were coming to congratulate him and ask him to push on because there were big issues. He thought people were coming to him to tell him, we know that the economy is terrible, but soldier on. No, they rather were showing him the loopholes to stealing. Can I tell you something? New police recruits, as we are told, some time ago in Ghana. I don't know if it's still happening. I don't think so. When they are recruited, the old ones start telling them, start making the money now. There's no money in the police. Before you realize it's time for you to retire and you have nothing. You go back to your village, to the family house, and they will insult you. So make the money now. How do you make the money? They normally ask corruption. Anybody who gets an appointment in Ghana to serve, serves himself and forgets about the people that he's supposed to be serving. Ato Forson, as reported to us, was shocked at how not one person, not two people, prominent people kept coming to him to tell him, you see, this office, that is your biggest breakthrough in life. You might never have it. Strike the iron whilst it is hot. Make your money. Pass here, you can steal millions. Pass here, you can steal millions. Nobody will see. And this is how they will not see. Ghana. How did we get to know this? Thanks to the Imani boss, Franklin Kujo, my mate from UST, Kumasi, who presently has a bout of Parkinson's disease, but is still soldiering on and granting interviews. He granted an interview to Bola Ray, my colleague, and he made this known. What did he say? Finance Minister Ato Forson told me that when he assumed office, some politicians described certain sectors as places they eat from. And he was mortified. Now, you know what it means to say mortified? The word mort comes from French. Mourir, to die. Mortified. You know what that means? It shocked him to death. That's the right way. Can we listen to it? Watch this.
This guy will forgive me. What's his name? Ato Forson will forgive me. If I use this example. So 2 weeks after Ato gets into office, he calls me and said, Charlie, you know, I don't want to be a bad politician. I don't want anybody to soil my name. But Charlie, as soon as I got here, some people came to see me and said, Charlie, Hano, this is where they eat from. This is where so this is where they paid all these things that we hear of, but we'll never trace it to the consolidated fund because you never really see it. I'm not saying that the finance ministry is hiding the support there or anything. They are not saying that. It's just saying that you can actually be a clever thief. you can be a clever fool, or you can be a clever hang-on if you play ball. It depends on what you want to do at the ministry. And he said he was mortified. I said, well, it is the case that it happens everywhere. This guy will forgive me. What's his name? Ato Forson will forgive me. If I use this example. So 2 weeks after Ato gets into office, he calls me and said, Charlie, you know, I don't want to be a bad politician. I don't want anybody to soil my name. But Charlie, as soon as I got here, some people came to see me and said, Charlie, Hano, this is where they eat from. This is where so this is where they paid all these things that we hear of, but we'll never trace it to the consolidated fund because you never really see it. I'm not saying that the finance ministry is hiding the support there or anything. They are not saying that. It's just saying that you can actually be a clever thief. you can be a clever fool, or you can be a clever hang-on if you play ball. It depends on what you want to do at the ministry. And he said he was mortified.
He said he was mortified, hypnotized to death. You either would be a clever thief or a clever fool. Maybe you could be a clever hang-on. Just stay on and play the ball. People that we hire into power, we pay them from our hard work and taxes. And they are there to play ball. They are there to steal. The young Ato Forson went in there. And prominent people, as told to us by Franklin Kujo, after which he apologized because this was a private chat. But he felt that it was necessary for us to hear. People go in and teach each other how to steal. And my brother, this is public knowledge. Every institution that has a new person in there, the old ones would always come back and orientate them. They would socialize them in the world of corruption. That's how it is in Ghana. Once you get in there, somebody who has worked there before would always find a way. And he will tell you that he's doing you a favor, showing you how to steal without being caught. Where is patriotism? Ato Forson is demonstrating patriotism. Tell me, which part of Ghana do you have new people going that all
we ayin sama huru itim ko so channel no so mam eno so jemre da sene so badi ndia dumbi edomeni awnya de besan Asia.